everyone. So, blessings to each of you. Welcome to another hour of power brought to you by the Holy Qubtic Church of the Black Messiah. How's everybody doing today? Awesome. Good. Grateful. Just like to welcome our brother, Elder. So good to have you in our presence. Elder Owen, Ajani, Amon. Thank you so much for gracing us. So today my sisters and I, we are finishing up a series of the Bible's interpretation, the series of parallel doctrines running through the scriptures. And this is our final part. And this is for the past, I think it was 3 weeks, right? I think this is our this is the third week. Well, this has been for the past 2 weeks. My sisters and I, we would have shown you throughout the scriptures how we as Nubian Melanites, you and I, have taken on other scriptural interpretations and perceptions of the Greco-Romans, of the Indo-Arabs, of the Pale Arab Emirates, of the Indo-Orientals, through Hellenistic ways, through Phoenicians, through the Buddhist ways. We have taken on all of these things unbeknown to us.
Good.
Because you and I have been raised with this Bible, whether it was the King James Version, whether it was the New International Version, or whatever version it was, we were given this Bible saying that this is the Word of God, right?
Yes.
Yet, there were many interpretations of it. Like atonists, like you and I, we as atonists say that the Bible is not the problem. It is the mistranslation, the misinterpretation, also the chronological order and sequence of what the books that were placed. And we know that many books were also taken out, been misplaced, and just taken away from us, right?
Yes.
And so you and I, because our Basesh, Reverend Dr. A.J. Bama, who have diligently worked so hard to teach you and I, and to show you and I how that these scriptures have been showing us that we have taken on other than self and time.
That's right.
We have taken on the image and likeness of the beast.
That's right.
We have been looking through the lens of not our own glasses.
Everything
We don't
but
even know, we don't know our prescription. We don't know whether we are a 2.0 or a 1.75. We don't know what prescription we are wearing. Many of us are looking through lens foggy, but yet we calling it a good day. You know, we just met one of our brothers who was in the church, and he said, how you doing? And he was like, I'm catching hell and calling it a good day. He's like, hold on. Don't call it a good day, because you understand?
Yeah.
But that's what we have been doing, and we have been subliminally taking on these perceptions and calling it a good day.
Just going with it.
Just going with the flow and saying, my life is good. We're okay being at the bottom. We are okay looking through somebody else's lens. We are okay eating foods that are not good for us. We are okay having pain in our back and saying, well, thank God I'm here. And we're not trying to find the right lens. We're not trying to find a solution. We're not trying to find the right path. We're not trying to find the narrow and straight path that we spoke about today, the straight and narrow path, the Sirat al-Mustaqim, right?
So we want to survive.
We want
to thrive, not survive.
We have been in survival mode most of our lives, all of our lives. until this day and time that you and I have now been placed in, because we are now saying no more. We're now saying that our lives are worthy. Our children's lives are worthy. Our children's lives and you and I lives are worthy to thrive.
Yeah.
My husband and I have been working over Albany, and every time my husband drives me through Albany, he said, this is, how can these people live like this and we feel okay with it?
Right.
We feel okay taking the scraps. We feel okay just not knowing the truth. We feel okay being in ignorance.
We will not mention it happen.
Because that's what they've been teaching us.
Yeah.
They've been teaching us that you're gonna get yours later. And we keep looking for that. We keep, that when in the race, the dog race, they have this toy or this rabbit in the front. And as the dog runs, guess what he's trying to race? Trying to catch that rabbit, but he can't catch it.
No.
Because it's moving so fast, but that's us as a people. We're continuously chasing after things. As we say in the scriptures this morning, we have been chasing after wealth. We've been chasing after power. We've been chasing after respect. I guess where we want respect. We want respect from the white man. We don't want respect of our own. Because anytime our BBs and Babas have stood before us, we rejected them.
Rejected them, that's right.
But anytime a white man or a woman of a lighter melanin hue or recessive melanin stand before us, we take it as God.
We don't even question it.
We don't question it. So my sisters and I today, this parallel doctrines, we have been taking on, my sister, she read today in the book of salvation, where we have taken on, we've been listening to the Sadducees and the Pharisees and the Gentiles and the Sanhedrin, everybody outside of our own, everybody we've rejected. But the Messiah, Yeshua Karas, have told us not to go unto these same people.
That's right. That's right. That's what the Bible says.
In Matthew 10, 5, verse 6, 10, 5, and 6. These 12 Yeshua sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Go unto the lost sheep of Ishmael, the house of Ishmael, Israel, and Midiani.
That's right.
These 12 royal tribes. You and I, where you and I are from, we are that remnant of these 12 royal tribes, the lost sheep. We have been scattered.
Yes.
We spoke about in the scriptures today. We are a people that have been scattered. In Ezekiel 34, 5 through 16, I'm just going to write it here. Pardon us, our screen is not working, so I brought a chalkboard. I pray that you can see today on this chalkboard, and I'll just write down some verses. Ezekiel 34. 5 through 16. Ezekiel 34, 5 through 16 speaks about how we have been scattered. And it reads, and I briefly read, and they were scattered because there is no shepherd. And they became meat to all of the beasts of the field. We have become meat to the Indo-Arabs. We have become meat to the Indo-Orientals. We have become meat to the Hindus. We have become meat to everyone. When they were scattered. My sheep wandered through all the mountains. We wandered through all of the places, all of the tabernacles and temples that doesn't even look like you and I. We've been through the Buddhist temple. We've been to the Taoist. We've been to all those temples. And upon every high hill, yea, my flock was scattered upon all the face of the earth. and none did search or seek after them. Verse 11 says, for thus said the Lord God, behold, even I will both search my sheep and seek them out. So what you and I are seeking today is also searching well. You ever heard that saying? What you're looking for is also looking for you.
Take one step.
Take one step unto the Most High,
Yes.
and the Most High takes how many steps to you? 10
Yes.
steps. You get the way to look. You get the way to look in, right? But
Truth.
when you're searching and seeking after the truth, when you're searching and seeking after the face of the Natural Elohim, they also are looking for their sheep. As the shepherd seeketh out his flock in the day that he is amongst his sheep that are scattered, so will I seek out my sheep, and will deliver them out of all places where they have been scattered in the cloudy and dark day. And I will bring them out from the people. We're Nazarenes.
Yes.
We're being separated.
Right.
So we're being put in this, we're gathering here in the Kanisa.
In the world, but not of the world.
There we go, as Yeshua spoke about. That's right. I will seek that which was lost and bring again that which was driven away, because we were driven away. The moment we entered, the moment the Indo-Arabs and the Indo-European and the Indo-Orientals came into our lands, we were not the same.
All right. Oh.
We were not the same. They took us out of our lands. They made us forget our language, took away our clothing, took away our resources, and left us in a cloudy and dark place. And took our culture away from us. And we have become a broken and sick people. The original books of the Bible, as I shared today, said we have lost our way home. And so today, you and I, that's why we're here. We're trying to find our way back to the Natural Elohim. We're trying to find our way back to the bosom of the Most High Heavenly One. We're trying to seek reunification with the Most High Heavenly One, and Ray. And so, my sisters and brothers, as we unravel and unveil the truth that our Reverend Dr. A.J. Varma has done and taught us, who is the revealer.
That's right.
And the voice.
That's right.
Of the Natural Elohim.
That's right.
Gabriel. You and I can now discern the truthful realities. And that's what some of the, if you were in our classes and you've heard the sisters teaching, the student priestesses and student teachers teaching, this parallel doctrine, what we are doing for you is we are now gaining discernment. We're now able to see the truth blindly. I mean, not blindly, clearly.
Behold an amazing thing.
Behold an amazing thing.
That's right.
Right, thank you, my brother. Because you and I have sought true faith. You and I, we have embraced true faith. You and I, we know true faith. And we are now able to have unshakable faith, because whenever we have somebody who comes to us, whether it is our family members or somebody in the street, and they come to us, because I had somebody, this young girls who approached me in the food store, and I was really, I gave them, I didn't turn them away, but they were like they were in their teens, high teens, like 18, 19, two young ladies, and they wanted to speak to me about the word of the Lord. I listened, and so she asked me a few questions, and she said, do you think that Jesus is coming again? Right? That's where they're at now. And what I was amazed about was when she asked that question, she was able to riddle off exactly what she was taught. You could tell she was well versed. She was confident, and I said, that's what we, you and I,
Yes, we
need to be in this day and time. Because when we find that we have these false teachings and they're speaking it in such a confident way, they can fool even the elect.
That's right.
So that's why we have no,
Counter.
if you don't know true faith,
Yes.
and if you don't, how many minutes? 15 more minutes, all right. And if you don't know true faith, that's the only way that you can have unshakable faith. So when anybody comes to you, when you know your stuff, you will be able to stand in that truth. Because in John 8:32, it says, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So as we continue on, I want us to go briefly, and then I'll pass it on to my sisters. And this is something that everyone should actually have. It's www.abram Publications. This is important for us because it shows us how there are so many other gods in the Bible. ABRAIM Publications.com. And we are in other gods. And when you go there, it's very important because they have a list of all the gods that are mentioned in the Bible. And they have key points where they will show you whether it is, throughout the Bible, you will find that it says this God, this name, Baal, because I'm going to show you Baal, or Baal, or they will show you that whether it is a person, because we said that what they have done, they've taken persons and made them a river.
Yeah.
They have taken a river and made them into a god, or you understand? And so they have made a displacement all throughout the scriptures. And so this Baal means Lord. And so as you go, you will see the related names in there. And I'll just briefly, Baal, Berith, Baalis, Hannibal, Maribal. And so the name Baal in the Bible, the name Baal is applied to two different men. One is a town and one is an idol. You see there, right? But Baal is the male god of Canaan and the Phoenician counterpart of the female god Ashtoreth, which you can find in Judges 2:13. Judges 2:13. And let's just go there quickly for a brief moment. But this is important because we are a teaching.
Sure.
And what is key? Language is key. And this is the only way that we can unravel and see what has been taking place. Okay? There we go. Thank you for your patience. Judges 2 and go down from 6. Joshua dies. And when Joshua and had let the people go, the children of Israel went every man unto his inheritance to possess the land. And the people served the Lord all the days of Joshua, and all the days of the elders that outlived Joshua, who had been sent all the great works of the Lord that he did for Israel. And Joshua the son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died, being 110 years old, and they buried him in the border of his inheritance, in the mount of Ephraim, on the north side of the hill. And also all the generation were gathered unto their fathers, and there arose another generation after them, which knew not the Lord, and nor yet the works which he had done for Israel. So it is important for you and I, if we want this way of life that has been given, that has given us liberation. if we want it to become perpetual, we have to make sure that we're teaching it to our children.
That's right.
That's the only way that it can become perpetual, because in the past, we know that, as it said here, there was one generation that knew the Lord, but guess what? The next generation did not. So something happened. There was no pass down of information, or they weren't, whether they may have not been living it, because sometimes the children don't go off of mere words. They go off of what you do. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord and served Balaam. And they forsook the Lord God of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other gods, of the gods of people that were round about them, and bowed themselves unto them, and provoked the Lord to anger. And they forsook the Lord and served Baal and Ashtoreth. Let's continue on. Let's go to Romans 11:4 quickly.
Okay.
Romans 11:4. It's important for you to understand the scriptures and make sure you do your diligent research at home as well. So we're just giving you these scriptures so that you can do your own work. Let's quickly, I say then, hath God cast away his people? God forbid, for I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. God hath not cast away his people, which he foreknew. What the scripture said of Elias, had he making intercession to God against Israel, saying, Lord, they have killed thy prophets, and have digged down thine altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life. But what saith the answer of God? Let's see what this God says unto him. I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. So there was a few persons, 7,000 men that did not follow the way of Baal. And that has to be you and I today. And it's even in 5, it says, even so, then at this present time, also there is a remnant according to the election of grace. Let's look at the word remnant. What is this remnant? Because we are that remnant.
Yeah.
Lima. Remnant. Says remnant. Let's go to, I'm going to go to the root, this lipo. To leave behind, to be wanting, to fail. So we have to be that remnant that is not left behind, or we have to be, sorry, let me look at the word. Let me go back to Judges, because I did miss a point in Judges too that I really want us to look at. Because what we will find, and my sisters will gather, will speak about that, is that there were snares, Judges 2. It speaks about, wherefore I also said, I will not drive them out from before you, but they shall be as thorns in your sides. You and I, because we have just been surviving, some of us have been feeling thorns. These gods have been, plaguing our lives, and sometimes we feel like we can't even move forward because we're just in survival mode. We're living from paycheck to paycheck. And their gods shall be a snare unto you. Let's look at the word snare. Mokashi. A snare, ensnare. A noose. The moment we take on the image and likeness of these beasts, They will be a noose unto us, because the moment we say we're taking one step forward, we always take 10 steps backward.
Yeah,
Thinking that we're going ahead. And so my sisters and brothers, let's continue on. And the original books of the Bible, Papyrus 1, page 190, speaks about that if we take on these basic commandments of true conscious morality, that if we embrace them with all our mind and all our heart and with all our strength and power, we will be able to avoid the many traps and snares which often leads to the downfall of many members of humanity.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's important that we are given these original books of the Bible that reflects you and I, that reflects the image and likeness of you and I. And we are that remnant. If you and I continue to stay on the straight and narrow path and the Sirat al-Mustaqim, we will be able to have true, genuine, and authentic grace, as it speaks about in Romans 11, verse 5. We are that remnant. And let's continue on quickly before I pass it on to my sisters. Let's just take one more. All right. In fact, let's just continue on. Let's continue on in veil, because it's important for us to understand what this word veil has done to us.
Yeah.
R&D veil is identical to the masculine noun listed above. It means Lord, and it's even applied to the relationship between God and man. It means for your husband. Veil also means husband.
What?
And so,
Wow.
Married.
that you are a husband, right? Just make sure that you're not veiled, you're not operating in veil, right? So it means, so my sisters, you and I, we have to be very careful, because sometimes in our marriages, when we find that we are putting each other before the Most High Heavenly One, our marriages go to shams. Broken homes, we find many broken homes, because we go into our marriages and expecting our husbands to be this fairy tale Prince Charming. And the moment we find ourselves in position, wives, because sometimes many wives, and let's be honest, wives, we are the first to run out of our marriages, because we go there with certain expectations, with this fairy tale perception of this marriage. Anytime we have hard times, we want to break off fast and running, because we have put our husband as the pinnacle instead of putting the Most High, you and your husband following the ways of the Most High. And me and my husband can tell you to this point, if we did not put the Most High Heavenly One as the helm in our lives, as the helm of our family, we would have not been here today as a couple.
That's right.
And I'm not just saying that, because we've been through hell and come back, and we yet standing strong, because we have placed something that is bigger than our emotions at the helm. And every time we go through a hard time, we always remember. That's what we have to remember.
Yeah.
It ain't about my feelings. It ain't about my emotions. It's something bigger than you and I.
Yeah.
We have a work to do. And so we have to put our husbands, as we look up in Isaiah 54:5, let's go quickly. Isaiah 54:5. Let's look up what the husband means in Isaiah 54:5. For thy maker is thine husband. That's who's supposed to be your husband, right? Let's look up the word husband. Guess what it says? Vow.
Foul maker.
Vow. Look up the word husband. Your maker is your husband. Vow. To be Lord over. to be master, have dominion over.
Sound like that Greco-Roman thing.
And so that's what we have been taken on. And that's why it's important why language is key. Because you and I have read this verse and we have been holding this verse in our Christian lives, in our churches. And we've been holding this verse and not knowing that we have been invoking certain spirit forces in our lives by saying husband in that verse. And so my sisters and brothers, it's very imperative that we continue this diligent research. It's very imperative that we continue to go into the language. It's a very imperative that we seek a guide, because we have been walking this earth and thinking that we could do it alone. And where did that leave us? Alone. And so we found that what has happened to us in this teaching, because when we read the Bible, we all felt there were certain parts of the Bible that felt good to us and that we felt that we were related to, right? And why was that? Because they have taken these information from the original text, as you can find in the King James Zondervan Bible. If you look in there, you will find these ancient texts that speaks about the lives of you and I, of our forefathers and foremothers, of all the natural Elohim. And you can find these texts that speaks about our lives, and here they put it in this Bible. And that's how they have been getting us to be invoking these spirit forces in our lives unknowingly. Because we have been following a religion that seems right, as spoken of in Proverbs 14:12. Proverbs 14:12. You and I, as we took, that's why it spoke about, when we spoke about how we have been scattered and we have been going all of these different places. We have been going onto the Indo-Orientals. We've been going onto the Indo-Europeans, because they have been giving us a doctrine that seemed right. They've been giving us a religion or a way of life that seemed right unto us. In Proverbs 14:12, it says, there is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. But they don't tell you that you had a system. They didn't tell you that you have an African cosmology and theology. They don't tell you that. But guess what? It isn't for them to tell you. It is for us to not reject our forefathers and our babies and babas who have literally shown us, been telling us these for years after years. We've rejected them. So again, we've got Persian gods, Roman gods, Greek gods, Canaanite gods. And they got us worshiping them. The Bibi, remember, Annie said that you must name and define it. Not just give it a name, because the devil will take your name. That's what cultural diffusion is all about. They got you and I saying these names, and we are invoking, as we say every Sunday, we've been saying these names in our Sunday service. The present, the divine attributes of the Most High Heavenly One. We say at the end of our service, we say the 99 names of the natural Elohim. And that is because we have to now invoke the present so that we can now reinstitute those names into our lives, because we have taken on ghost worship. And so my sisters will now take it over. But thank you so much for your time. Namaste.
Family.
How was your being? Mine has been extraordinary to say the least.
Eventfully.
Our family is one. One at death's door, getting a call on Tuesday, at death's door to now being home
Wow.
in her bed, and on the way picking her up yesterday, an car accident with her in the car, directly in front of the hospital. John was there, John could tell you, it's been 10 days, it's been a rough 10 days. But thanks to the good Lord, she is quite well. She's at home being ministered by her 3 daughters. Well, because she's a person who likes to take control, and her daughters are the same thing, so they can be bucking heads.
Yes, ma'am.
They've been
Good
bucking
time.
heads up and getting on you now. Because I can now laugh when she's home, and if she's growling and carrying on, I know she's better.
Okay.
And her daughters are just the way she is, so everybody going for control, and they're not gonna let her do anything.
Yeah.
So I'm happy I've been getting WhatsApp texts back and forth between all of them.
By the way, you just had a call from family group.
Yes. Oh,
Oh, wow.
I
That
saw
was
she
you?
came out of the intensive care. Somebody gave her a phone. She was in family group chat. After she was flatlined. And they raised real, and they raised the Landy rate.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, we are in part 4 of Bible interpretations, and we are on the last part of part 4 where we're talking about parallel doctrines and how the Europeans inserted themselves into the Bible. Now, we are going to take a look at Lazarus and parallel doctrines.
Okay.
How many Lazaruses are mentioned in the Bible?
Mm.
2. We always only remember one particular one, Lazarus, Mary and Martha,
Yeah.
exactly raised.
Yeah.
There's another one. Luke 16, before Lazarus. Okay, Luke 16 to 29. It talks about the rich man and Lazarus.
Right, for the water.
Right. Now, let's just read that for a moment. And just familiarize ourselves with it because I forgot it.
Okay.
I did. So we're going to Luke chapter 16 and we're going 17 to 26. Sorry, 19 to 26. The heading is the rich man and Lazarus. There was a certain man which was clothed in purple and fine linen and fared sumptuously every day. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate, full of sores, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Like Sister Dominic just said, she and her husband were driving through Albany.
Yeah.
I talked about how opulent it is compared to the little crumbs that everybody else is getting.
Yeah.
Okay? Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. So you know that was a dire situation.
Certainly.
Although, there, somebody did say, and I look it up, Sister Tara probably will, that there, the saliva of the dog is sometimes healing to the wound. Right, yes.
That's right.
And it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abram's bosom.
That's right.
The rich man also died and was buried. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments and seeing Abraham afar off and Lazarus in his bosom. So apparently, this rich man did not give any money to the Catholic Church because as the cup of clinging, hope and purgatory springing. So they he was not a bit less.
You can buy a seat.
He could buy it. He too.
Hey, Claire.
Time verse 6. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me. How he goes. The king dipped the tip in the water and cooled my tongue. For I am tormented in this flame. But Abram said, son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things, but now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. You can't save everybody. And besides all this, everyone has saved. And you, there is a great gulf fixed, so that they which would pass from hence, you cannot, neither can they pass to us. That would come from thence. So we're going to just look at this word bosom. Abraham's bosom. They always talk about it, Abraham's bosom.
Think about a woman.
Ah, you understand? You might just be thinking about
No,
okay.
Bosom.
Yes, the bosom of the Most High, yes, but what do they mean? By bosom? There are, you understand? Always talk about this bosom. What is this bosom? Okay?
No gender.
Oh,
Difficult.
God. Ah, you understand it is.
Yes, yes.
Okay, now when we think of bosom, we think of comfort. Comforting a child.
Yeah.
You lay your head
Nurturing,
on it,
nurturing.
do it. My mom, so she passed away, I curled in the bed, lay on her chest every day. Put your back. That was my thing. Hush. Don't talk.
Spur.
Spur. Yes, I am. Hello, amen. Yes.
Under the term.
Bosom, free, the front of the body, between the arms, the bosom of a garment, the hollow formed by the upper forepart of a rather loose garment bound by a girdle sash, a bay of the sea, a bosom or a creek, the analogy for a bay. Now, okay? Yes, then they tell us, as in the Greek writings of Homer.
Oh, wow.
Now we go to Sister Conrad's favorite people.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Greek writings. So when we talk about Greek writings, we're talking Homer's Odyssey and the Iliad up to this day.
Yes.
That's the idea of bosom in those writings. Now, what does the story of Lazarus mean? Because they say a rich man.
Yeah.
So who is the rich man and how was he thinking at that day? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Because to answer that question, King James, was he a poor person or did he? Okay, he had money.
Yes, he did.
So we have to look at this from the perspective of an aristocrat. Yeah, King Charles and the rest, and all of those.
Keeping up appearance.
Now, during this time that it was written, what was this time called to the rich? Renaissance period, European Renaissance. What was before the European Renaissance? The Dark Ages. After Rome was overthrown, the Visigoths came in, destroyed everything, and that was their so-called Dark period.
Yeah.
Now, question, for those, how could people decided to help out of their so-called Dark Ages? Oh, okay, thank you. The Moors, exactly, and they call that period also the age of discovery.
Right.
Yes, oh, yes, we get there. That helpful person. Now, the Renaissance period, that was also the time when they were writing fairy tales. Fairy tales. Now, this is from Stanford University. That was connecting fairy tales and the Bible and how the Bible was seen by the Renaissance. And he says the Bible served as much more than a book of faith for Renaissance scholars. It was also favored as an object of study for humanists of that period. What is a humanist? Good question. Humanist. Okay. We're talking about Lazarus. Okay. Humanists affirm that humans have the freedom to give meaning, value, purpose to their lives by their own independent, I know everything. the attitude. Own independent thought, free inquiry, and responsible creative activity. You get creative, like little children, when you tell them what they do, what did you do? You get this whole fairy tale from them. You have to practically almost beat the truth out of them because they're so scared. If you tell the truth 10 to 1, they're gonna beat you. Well, I never got beat, so. But anyway. But they decided to become creative. Humanism teaches to be free from dogma and religious, cultural, misogynistic beliefs. Humanism informs as a person. I hold. As humanists today, we can understand Peter Singer, Richard Norman, Sheila McLean, medical ethics and law. These are the people controlling and telling you what they consider ethical. Man-boy love association. Oh gosh, no, there's nothing wrong with him. He is not psychologically damaged. No, it's all right for him to think of himself as being a little girl of 5, dressing up, and no, it's okay for your daughter to have tea with him and to play with him and go to the bathroom with him because he is a girl. He has a right to choose. Okay, there are some who are humanists. Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, and I'm a Trek. Involved impossible. Brad Pitt, Ricky Gervais, George Clooney, Ed Byrne, Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean, Vanessa Redgrave, Richard Dawkins, Charles Darwin. These people that you worship and are praised are humanists.
Yeah.
And then there's one particular humanist, Bill Gates. Just yesterday, we were reading, it came over the line, Bill Gates is back in Africa, gave another round of medicine.
And
And
people
now we
dying.
have an outbreak. People are dropping. You're dropping.
Taylor.
Demons and months all over the place. Demons. That's who they say are the humanists. Okay? Yeah. These humanists are right, taking you right out while he's at. Okay? Now, humanists of that period, even more so, artists from that period used the Bible to form many of their artistic works. So from their imaginations of what they read in the Bible,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to paint this in my view. One, Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, all of them painted from their point of view. Leonardo's library at the time, the Renaissance of Revelation, continued with Stanford University. He used that to form all of the pictures that he painted of Christ. And of course, it will be in his view, in his eyes, and right is right, according to him.
Yeah.
We can't fault them for that, we have to fault ourselves for believing it. Okay? Now, they're not reading the Bible, but we do. They know it's a fairy tale.
Yeah.
They know they're going to insert themselves somewhere in it to confuse you. But what do? We believe everything. Now, there's a relationship between Renaissance and Revelation. Renaissance literally means rebirth. Rebirth. The church, we study and we are, Abba Sesh always says, know and study everything.
That's right.
Or know everything about one thing.
Yes.
Okay? That's right. Like said, that's right. Renaissance writers, because they influenced European theology, education, philosophy, psychology, everything. So when we go to their schools, well, every school right now comes out of a European mind thought.
Yeah.
All of it. We put nothing into it. So everything we got in from age, I think 2.5 now they go to school, their ideas. Okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, you are reading now. We go to King James. King James was an Anglican. Who comes out of the Renaissance, European Renaissance? Now, They would have written the King James Version of the Bible from their perspective, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. What was been during that time? The Shakespearean era.
Yeah.
That would have been the time of Shakespeare. Who all read Shakespeare in school and college? I know I had that. Oh, everybody.
That was a literature read.
Everybody.
Yes, for the syllabus, yeah.
Yes, and it was hither and there and goeth and cometh and whithereth. But if you read the original King James Version, that is exactly how it was written.
Yeah.
Although most of the population, one, they couldn't read and two, they didn't speak in that mouth. Today, they would call it a Cockney accent, a Cockney, that they speak in. But the elite, that's what they know. When you say, Our Father who art in heaven, holy be thy name, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth. And the way they used to spell things is very tricky. Okay, that's Shakespeare. Okay, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and thy name. Rose would smell of sweet. Romeo and Juliet, yeah, two little cycles who committed suicide. Then you ask, why are we reading Shakespeare? Why am I mentioning Shakespeare and the Bible? If you go to Psalms 46 and you start counting the 46 words from the top and from the bottom, you will count and you will see one says shape and the other says spear written directly into it. And when you go down to 29, you will see, when you count 29, you will see I am shape and spear.
46?
Yeah, 46 down. I tested it this morning.
Which
And
one was
Yeah,
that?
I have heard that before.
Psalms 46. You count 46 words up, 46 words down. And you will have shake up top and spear down to the bottom. And then just before that, there's an I am. And then and a will I am. Which I thought was cute. Now, Robert J. Morgan of the University of Texas wrote, where did Shakespeare hide his name? And he said, Shakespearean influence reading of the Bible into adulthood can be found in both the number and the nature of the references found in his plays. Why do some scholars believe that Shakespeare was not the author of his plays? In fact, there's a saying or a belief that it was actually a black woman who wrote those plays, but she never got the recognition. She
Yeah,
was-
Emma.
Yes. Hollywood established in 1867 that Shakespeare primarily used the Geneva Bible. What was the Geneva Bible and what was Shakespeare? And why did he support it? He was a Protestant. And the Protestants, that was the Bible that he used at the time. Before you had the King James Version. Now, in the Renaissance, 16th century figures such as the painter and art historian Vasari employed the term Renascita to characterize the recovery of classical arts and letters between the 14th and 16th centuries. But the period also evidenced concern for rebirth of a spiritual and moral nature. Now, these people, who's spirit and who's moral, what are you talking about? Certainly not us.
Yes.
Now, Leonardo's library held several works. Again, you mentioned that. But it was also an Italian Bible translated by Mallarmé and printed in Venice in 1490. Now, what was happening during the discovery, during the discovery, 1490? Yes, exactly. And that, Columbus is in the year of 1492. Now, Columbus, he's a curious character. What does his name mean? Christopher Columbus. The word Columbus means dove in Latin, and Christopher means Christ bearer.
Yes.
So he's the Christ bearer of the dove, Christ bearer. Okay, and his ship was the Nina de Princess de Santa Maria. And then, to add insult to injury, they had, by the John Hopkins and partly owned by Queen Elizabeth I, The good ship Jesus that brought Africans over to the New World. Yes, that's where most of their wealth came from,
Yes.
that they're sitting on right now. Slavery. He was the one who financed Sir John Hawkins. And Sir John Hawkins was an African, he came as a visitor. I just want to, and then he infiltrated, studied you. Went back, told her, home came back, and that was yes. And like they said, you wrote the note. Yes. And great, good ship Jesus. Thank God for the privateers, the Spanish privateers, they captured in the subject. But still. Okay, now, when we talk about that, we always talk about there's this old Negro spiritual, come on, Jesus, take me away, sail away home, sing low, sweet chariot, coming home to carry me, coming forth to carry me home. The good slave Jesus, slave ship, that's what we're singing about. Now, we're going back to this Boston. When we look at it and we think of it in terms of European, your religion, we're going to go to St. Augustine, Bishop of Hippo, who said, and this printed Bible is a copy of the famous work. I cannot pronounce this, Doctrines, written by one of the most influential philosophers and theologians. Okay? Of Western Christian thought. St. Augustine. In the earthly city, then we find two features, one pointing to its own presence, the other serving by its presence to signify the heavenly city. What was the heavenly city when St. Augustine talked about city of God? Venice. Venice, Italy. The concept of a godly city comes from, and they took this from the book of Ezekiel, 40 to 48, and it's also in Revelation 3:12 and 21:2, where they speak about a new Jerusalem.
What are those verses
But-
against us?
Yes. Ezekiel, chapters 40 to 48, that's when he had his vision, explaining the vision of a new Jerusalem and a new city, right? The temple, and in Revelations 3, verse 12, and Revelation 21:2. Okay, and in that you find the heavenly city, pure waters, angels, but when you go down, there is one that says, and there is, but when they describe the heavenly city, this heavenly city, Venice, one needs a fast flowing river to avoid the corrupt air produced by stagnation. And this will also be useful for regularly cleansing the city. Why? Because Venice was a city of mostly water, and all their waste is in the water. Yes, such. Yes, now that's what they call heaven. And their heaven is always our hell. Okay, let's continue with Bosom. The Bible served as much more than a book of faith to the Renaissance scholars. But this is not for us, because our original scripture, we have, we're talking Moray and Animal, that talks about African systems, talks about Akita 10, talks about our university, and talks about our situations. Now, when they say Bosom, I always think of the picture of the Last Supper. Jesus sitting there, and you have who they say is John, looking very feminine, and he's dressed in his hair. It's like, come on, people. Let's, if you walk in, the husband, on his bosom, what would you think?
Where's that?
Oh,
Drinking wine and
That's the Bible.
Grant.
Guilty with an exclamation in honor. That's what that's right. And why would it be something like this? Because innately, that's not what men do.
No.
Not at all. That's why most men are not in the church. Because it teaches men to be passive. Turn the other cheek. What man, you walk up to a man, slap him, and he can turn the other cheek.
That's when they turn it on.
I'm not turning the other cheek. I'm fighting. Whatever I get in my hand, you get a little bit. That's it. Okay, but that's what they do. Like when they talk about Bosom, and man laying their head. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. No. Okay, that was the only, but, okay, we're going to go back to the word bosom. Luke 16:19-26 speaks about the bosom of Abraham, but everywhere else when you read it, always a woman in the bosom of Abraham. It's never a man with the bosom, but that is how they write themselves in.
Oh.
For instance, Genesis 16:5. Sarah said unto Abraham, my wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom. Male female relationship, that's the way it's supposed to be. For he. Exodus, and the Lord said, furthermore, put your hands into thy bosom. And Moses stuck his hand in, and when he took it out, it was what? Different story. Numbers, same thing. And now, Numbers, thy carry, thy bosom, conceive all this people begotten thy, as a nursing father beareth suckling children. Does a father nurse?
No.
Okay. So somebody snuck that in there. Okay. This word in Hebrew, bosom, midst, lap, hollow, absolute embracing the part of a garment that touches the chest. To this idea of Lazarus, the bosom, when we look at Lazarus' name, Lazarus in the Greek, and it means whom God helps. Then we click and go further. El-Azar, Azar, Nazar, Nazareth. So the bosom of Abraham to this Lazarus is to become a Nazarite. It speaks to nothing of what they are talking about. To take an oath, to help. Not the Greco-Roman style. Okay, you take an oath of separation from the image and likeness of the beast man of sin. We have to get out from under him. Okay, to be a Nazarite, there's no piercings, there's no fake flowing blonde hair down to your backside. There's no piercings of your ear from here to ear, nose, mouth, all of it. The tongue, the navel, certain parts down below. Yes, I mean, it was backwards like that. Okay, now the Europeans took African theology and cosmology, and they rewrote themselves into that. Now, there was the second Lazarus, and that's what I'm going to let my sister finish. And that one deals with Lazarus, who was a friend of Jesus, and we say was resurrected. But she will give you the true meaning of what that actually was. And with that, the master.
Griffin of Mary.
Sorry, Mike. I'm gonna count it
And
up.
they, like our shoe in the temple with our weapon.
Yeah, their own box bag.
Horses.
Yeah, even fun.
Them Sean again.
Yeah. It comes to finish it off.
Yeah.
All right.
So now let's go back. We're talking about Lazarus, as Sister Peter actually was talking about. Actually, there are two Lazarus. I didn't remember until this one, like two. Okay. So where are they getting this Lazarus story from? The second Lazarus story from? Because they're both in the Bible, one in the Old Testament, one in the New Testament. And that's because the Europeans are taking African theology and cosmology and making it and rewriting themselves into it. Okay?
The teeth.
So, yeah, the teaching. So the story of Lazarus we could go back, and I wanna just go back a little bit, because when Sister Sean was reading from Luke, this is Luke, 16, verses 19, 23, 26. Okay, so I was telling Owen and Brother Owen and Annie John and she showed before everyone came in. They said it was amazing because when I actually didn't, I wasn't prepared for this morning, right? But this morning when I got up, it was just on my mind. I said, anyway, all kinds of things floating around my head. So reading the story of the first Lazarus, no, the Lazarus that's in Luke, it came to my attention that at verse 23, I just want to,
Yeah.
I have to get it over.
Yes,
because
sheet.
Bring
That's right, bring it.
I know my Catholic people in this church, Sean,
Oh, yes.
Catholic people. In verse 23, we get this with me, because just
Yeah,
like
go ahead. Get it on.
Right? So, and verse 22, and said, and it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments, and he seeth Abraham afar off and Lazarus in his bosom. And he cried out and said, Father, have mercy on me, and Lazarus, and send Lazarus that he may dip his finger in the water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented with the flames. Okay, let's go back up. So this is the wrong one. I want to read the other one, the other story, Lazarus.
With the rich man?
No, it's another story, Lazarus. Second one.
Okay.
Yes.
Mary and Martha.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go to John 11.
All right, so take your time.
Okay. Get back, let's come back.
Yes, do it.
Okay, so, good morning again.
Good morning.
So let's go back and
Oh,
this is the first Lazarus actually. What I learned about as a child.
Yeah.
It's like like I said earlier, I didn't remember it was two. So this is Lazarus dies. This is in John 11, verse 1 to the whole verse, the whole chapter. But I would like to highlight verse 23.
Okay.
Let's read from 21. Then said Martha unto Jesus, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. But I know that even now, whatsoever you will ask of God, God will give it to thee. God said unto her, my brother shall rise again. And Martha said unto him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection on the last day. Reading that, I thought I was this morning now. She tell you, I spot on first thing in the morning.
she was sleeping.
So the first song came to mind. First thing in the Catholic Church was never really involved because I never really understood it. But the minute I heard that verse, the first thing in the morning, the first song came to mind was the bread of life. I am the bread of life.
He who comes to me shall not hunger.
Uh-huh.
He who believes in me shall not thirst. Even if he dies,
Right. Sing it.
he shall live forever.
And I will praise God. I will praise God. I will praise God. This was he had some. Okay. So that's the first thing you know about it when I saw the verse. So they saw him on Lazarus.
There you go.
They had to get it. Sorry.
I never knew that.
Wow.
Because we told me that.
Exactly.
So the key it connected, because, Basho says, just let it flow, let it guide you. So that's why it's guided this morning. So I say, I'll share it with everyone, just so.
Yes, thank you.
Let them know. Okay, so now, let's go back to Lazarus. This Lazarus was, who? Who was Lazarus again? And did Caesar, Julius Caesar, have a Lazarus? Remember now, as far as Doctrines, did
Yeah.
Julius
Was
Caesar
that
have a
Lazarus in the Roman doctrine? Roman
There was
story?
a Lazarus,
Uh-huh.
right? But this was someone that he had to reinstate.
Right.
Now, when they call it AWOL,
Yeah.
depends what you go AWOL,
He was dead, but he was
right? So now you gotta bring him back.
alive.
So we had to bring one of his generals back. And this again led me to the studies that we studied in critical thinking.
Theology.
Critical thinking, right? That's a different, but still the instinct was a different section of it. And the question that I came up with, because we talked about the triumvirate also, the triumvirate was formed in 60 BCE by Julius Caesar, Gnaeus Magnus Pompey, and Marcius Licinius Crassus in response to laws passed by the Senate to try to restrain them and to limit their power.
That's right.
So, let's go with this is what, this is what my little booklet looks like. This box secret again, I just see this, okay? So, and the question is, what is the triumvirate? And it says, let's be very clear. When most people speak about Rome, they are usually talking about the Roman Empire. However, before that, there was the Roman Republic, which was run by the three main elected officials called the First Triumvirate or Trinity. So there's three men, like how their system, the power tree,
Yeah.
human trees,
Yeah.
which worked to establish Rome and an invading and colonizing empire called the Roman Empire. The First Triumvirate was a 7-year political alliance formed by Gaius, Julius Caesar, Marcus, Licinius Crassus, and Gnaeus Pompey,
That's right.
and was directly responsible for making his three men the most powerful men in Rome,
That's right.
and directly set Julius Caesar on the path of becoming the eventual dictator and emperor of Rome. Okay, so now let's look at who was Pompey. I know we don't talk about Pompey. Pompey was in the background. Pompey was one of them people.
He was a man trying to do it to Caesar.
Pompey was in Blaine. That's what I was talking about right now. So let's talk about Pompey. Pompey the Great. Like Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
Hey, born on September 29th, 106 BC in Rome, died September 28th, 48 BC in Egypt. One of the great statesmen and generals of the late Roman Republic, the Triumvirate, who was an associate and later an opponent of Julius Caesar. From him and Julius Caesar had a wife.
Yeah.
He was initially called Magnus the Great by a king in Africa. And he assumed the cognomen Magnus after 81. Okay? I won't stay too long. Let me go down.
He married Caesar's daughter too.
Yes, he did.
Yes. So the head, so I'm looking at Britannica. You look at Britannica, you take with Pompey. The first triumvirate of Pompey the Great. Help came only when Caesar returned from the governorship in Spain. Pompey, Crassus, and Caesar formed an official and first triumvirate. This was not a legal position, and the term, although convenient, is modern. It was to become more than mere election compact. It was train all the resources of the triumvirs to rest on consulship of the optimists. Their continued solidarity was essential if they were to secure what Caesar gained for them in 59. Caesar, first part, waited a long term. Pompey, who was now married to Caesar's daughter Julia, saw Caesar as his necessary instrument. So he was just using him. Caesar, once consul immediately, forced to a land bill, and shortly after, another appropriating public lands in Compana, no, Campana, P-A-N-I-A. Once he had secured the five-year command in Lyria and Gaul, he could be relied on to take on a large portion of Pompey's discharged troops and give them to the further opportunities for profitable employment. So there's box out one another. Okay, you can marry me, daughter. I need this from you. So when I secure this, I can take this from you. So either way, they didn't like one another. They just they had to do the gap, but they needed to get. Pompey solved the problem of Rome's grain supply with its usual efficiency, but the nobles kept up their opposition. The year 56 was a critical one for the triumvirs. The nobles concocted religious impeachments to prevent the dispatch of Pompey on a military mission to Egypt. While Publius Clodius contrived and persuaded Pompey that Crassus had designs on his life and attempted to make the suspend Caesar's law for the distribution of Campanian land. Everyone was back and forth. They was all for themselves. They used to get up, they wasn't to get up. Okay? Let's go down. And then let's return to that's a lot of information on Pompey if you're interested. Okay, so now we get a vision of who Pompey was. He was one of the generals history has stated, but he had rule over a lot of things that Caesar and him was alliance. He got married his daughter. And it had to work because he had to get what he had to get first before they deal with Caesar. Right? Okay. Now let's go back. I want to go back to when we talking about Lazarus. And another thing I saw was that I didn't know.
So, before you go on, so the Lazarus coming back from the dead, Pompey being reinstated.
Right.
Yes.
Right? And that Chan spoke about Lazarus and Luke and said that the poor man and the rich man. So you know that generals, as far as Caesar, when they were buried, they're buried in purple, and she mentioned the purple god.
Yes, the purple,
The purple
the
god.
right.
So that was Caesar.
The royalty.
Right. Okay. So now we have, like I told my eldest here early this morning, we had accounts of 10 accounts of people being raised from the dead in the Bible. 10 different accounts. I don't know if you all write this down because it's interesting to me. So you have Elijah raised the son of Sapphira, widow from the dead. 1 Kings 17 to 22.
Who did the raising?
Elijah.
Elijah.
Then you have Elisha raised the son of the Shunammite woman from the dead. 2 Kings 4 32 to 35. Then you have a man was raised from the dead when his body touched Elisha's bones. That's 2 Kings 13, 20, and 21. Many saints rose from the dead at the resurrection of Jesus. Matthew 27, 15, 53. Jesus rose from the dead. Matthew 28, 5 to 8. Mark 16, 6. Luke 24, 5 and 6. Jesus raised the son of the widow and man from the dead. Luke 7, 11, 15. Jesus raised the daughter of Jairus from the dead. Luke 8, 41, 42, 49 to 55. Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead. John 11, 1, 44. Peter raised Dorcas from the dead. Acts 9, 36, 41. Eutychus was raised from the dead by Paul. Acts 29 to 10. Unmarried. Okay. So, look at it now. No, that's a different. You didn't get it?
The Mark and Luke of the name.
Bible.org. Look it up. You can tell me.
Okay.
Okay. So that's we all know. 10 definitely comes to die in the Bible. I didn't realize that either.
Being raised from the dead.
Being raised from the dead. From different, not even just Yahshua or Jesus. His disciples was raising people from the dead. Well, I guess the power transferred to them. Okay. again. So now we have the first triumvirate, I guess it was formed in 60 BC, and by Julius, Cneius, Magnus, and Pompey, in response to the laws passed by the Senate to try to restrain them and limit their power, because they said no Roman general could bring this army into the city in Rome. He said to camp outside. If they came to the city, it was a violation of the law.
Right.
So the resurrection of Lazarus, when the enlists are reading it, when the leaders are reading to the leaders, now the leaders are called something today. What do you call the leaders today? What do you call the leaders? The elitists today. The elites. What do you call them?
Family.
The aristocrats.
That's it.
The aristocrats. Well, the aristocrats are two families, the Aristotles and the Socrates.
Yeah.
And these people are the ones rewriting until you pick up the original books of the Bible and you're reading African theology cosmology until you pick up the Bereshit and you're reading the Septuagint. You're reading the Greek, you have to pick up until you read the message to the black man, you get the message. Until you read Cresswell's papers, you get the keys to the colors. Until you read the counter-compensatory, counter-racist code by Barbara Fuller, you don't understand racism and white supremacy. And until you read these teachings of Sheikh Essa Ahmad El-Mahdi, you're not reading the Quran. You're not reading his tablets. You got to read the things that was inscribed for you. This is not the Bible. The Bible is not, nowhere in this Bible says Bible.
Right.
This is a book. This is the Bible, the original books of the Bible. We've been reading and absorbing and being indoctrinated, and some of us can't take it.
Yeah.
Stuck. Still stuck. It's in your face. You still you won't see it. Like I saw, someone put it in the where Marty nodded through the sleeping pillow, the Martin pillow. And you'd be so surprised. You'd be so surprised.
Yes, I just run away.
Keep you awake,
I
Philip.
swear, you'd be so surprised to know how many people gather and they buy, and the pillow costs $99.99.
Oh.
A $10 pillow to AI.
She's selling water too, another day.
Yes.
We ain't going there, because you don't know, she put no one. But anyway, I digress. Okay? You gotta wake up. We have to. Oh, it's too late. Okay? Now, there's another fact I want to tell before we move on. Okay? And this is coming from World History, EDU, education, I guess. So, I didn't know this either. Now y'all gonna know, and others gonna know who Pompey was. Pompey was a dangerous fellow, apparently. Pompey, how Pompey got his epithet, Magnus the Great. It's been suggested that Pompey earned the cognomen Magnus the Great around 81 BC. This was in honor of the military achievements he chalked during Sulla's Civil War. That's his daddy. His mentor Sulla is said to have saluted him as Magnus the Great, and then asked his men to call Pompey a cognomen. The name also reflects Pompey's admiration of Alexander the Great. So he took the name from Alexander. Right. So his opponents, however, Pompey was known as the teenage butcher. Due to his ruthlessness and the manner in which he decimated his enemies in Africa and Sicily.
Teenage man, what degree and what age is?
Anywhere from 11 to 10 or up. Positions. for
You ever watch the movie
Soleil.
Spartacus?
Yes.
They have a part they with
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. And then there was HBO on the roll, HBO, watch that. Really cool.
So they have a video on YouTube, Pompeii Kid Butcher, okay?
Where's that on what?
On YouTube,
Oh, kid, but
Pompeii Kid Butcher.
Put out it.
So let me see, like, in its violent campaigns for Sulla, it seemed Pompey earned himself the nickname of adulterous carnifex or teenage butcher. However, I'm not sure which Roman writer. I'm not sure which Roman writer first referred to him in this way. So what is the primary source of for this nickname? Wow. Okay, so they blocked that. I can't see it. So he's on a rampage. Sicily and Africa. So it says Pompey raised an army and sided with Sulla when the latter returned back from the campaigns in the east. His determination and mercilessness was shown when destroying his and Sulla's opponents in Sicily and Africa, where he was nicknamed the Teenage Butcher. Despite having shown loyalty to Sulla, he received no advancement of any kind from his dictator's will. But Pompey soon overcome his setback. The fact that he commanded his own army made him a force no one could afford to ignore. Having used his and proven his ability to put down a rebellion that he managed to secure by means of intimidation and a command in Spain. He had commanded Metellus Pius, then making steady progress against the rebel general Titurius and his forces. Then Pompey would have been left with a relatively easy job, but received all the glory from himself. So yeah, he hands you know all these fellas, but all the then young fellas in turn they go first, do they dirty work and they sit back and they get the actor,
take the glory.
right?
Sorry, that's right.
On his return to Italy, luck had him come across a band of fugitives from the defeated slave army of Spartacus. Once more, Pompey was handed easy glory, as he now may claim to have brought an end to the slave war, despite it having evidently been Crassus who defeated
Yeah, he took
Spartacus,
the credit for the war.
main force of the battle.
That's right.
Okay,
You never missed an opportunity.
no.
No. I'm going back to Rome before him and celebrate.
Yeah, before practice.
Yeah.
So there's so much information on them, I don't wanna continue, if y'all could read this yourself and you'll have time. But now we understand, like you say, a place can be a person can be a place,
Big event.
it can be an event.
It could be a man.
And
Ah,
so we know that Pompey was Lazarus.
Yeah.
He was raised back up to be reinstated, to do what he is doing. He's the henchman, we just,
Yeah, it was.
right? You have 2 wives?
But my number one, judges, remember when Sulla died, they put him on top of Sulla in place, and in order to get off, he married the judge's daughter. And he had 2 wives, Mary and Martha.
Oh.
Well, who was my name motto?
Oh, okay, but for them, that's Mary and Martha, it's not the father.
Do everyone know the generals that Caesar had? All the generals, it was 12.
Right, let's see. That's best story of the legend. Lost my title.
you know, that he had 12 disciples also.
Yeah.
Disciples.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanna, let's see all who did. I'm learning, even though we did this already, still learning. So I didn't know this about Bombay, so everyone knows what Bombay now.
Yeah,
Generals. So we have 12 generals. The 12 greatest generals in ancient Rome. Yeah, Scipio Africanus from 236 to 183 BC. You had Licinius Cornelius Sulla from 138 to 78 BC. Gnaeus Pompeius Magnus from 106 to 48 BC. You had Gaius Julius Caesar from 100 to 44 BC. You had Marcus Antonius from 83 to 30 BC. Cleopatra. You had Marcus Sulpicius Agrippa from 63 to 12 BC. Nero Claudius Drusus from 38 to 9 BC. Gnaeus Julius Agricola from 40 to 93 AD. Marcus Ulpius Tyrannius, 53 to 117 AD. And you have Septimus Severus, 145 to 211 AD. Flavius Valerius Constantinus, we know that one. And he was from 272 to 337 AD. And you have Flavius Aetus from 391 to 4 AD. 12 disciples. So this series, like I said this morning, this will go on forever because this is so interesting, and I had so much things I wanted to say, but I already just blocked. So I'll end here because my time is up. And you want to make sure to finish looking up because it's something to really,
Really unravel.
yes. Namaste. Hold on, Master. If we go on, hold on. Well.
Welcome, 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 Elder Owen. It's really good to have you here.
Good to be
It's
here.
your energy.
Thank you, Elder.
And on that note, I can go into as well. I know what it is, because my mom is still always with me, and like I told you, the memory is on.
Yes.
She'll always be with us.
Thank you, sis.
Sharon, who tried to act like she was in stress with me, so trust me. You know, that's usually organized to get 10,000 things done. That wasn't happening. So I knew she was really concerned about this, and it was touch and go for a minute, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in the land of the living,
Yeah.
able to be here together.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, we're in the season.
That's what they call it.
That's what they call it. And for most people, I guess, it's supposed to be a holly jolly time and all of that. But I don't know, this year has been very interesting. Like how China's had an interesting 10 days, I've had an interesting couple of months. And just yesterday, I attended the funeral of my former boss, Mr. Archer. And being there was so surreal, seeing a lot of my coworkers and always remembering this little statement that he used to make, that he was the hand and we were the fingers. You just don't ever picture these people not being here.
Right.
You just, it's like you always expect to be able to go, especially at this time, Mr. Archer was having some kind of party at his house. So that was gonna be a definite. But we made plans,
Yeah.
What was that, yeah?
and they ran an investor plan, so.
Yeah.
But I just say this to say, it got me to thinking, because right behind that, another former coworker, also from the same company back, and I was like, okay, what is this? And he was, when I went into the company, one of the people who kind of guided me. He used to be a brand manager, he was then in sales, and he always used to say, Jan, I love the way you treat me. I was like, why? He said, because of all the brand managers. So when they ordered their shirts, they ordered general size. They might go up to a 2X. But I always made sure he was gonna have his shirt with a 2X.
Yeah.
It costs more, but I'm like, there's 2 or 3 people around that size. I'm gonna make sure that they're included. And he appreciated that, and I never realized that was such a big deal. But all of these things came flooding back. Because it's like, again, another friend who, and I saw him at International Culture Fest. And he was having a little drink, and I was like, nah, that's it. That's it, me. You're not supposed to be doing this. Jokingly, here he is, gone. As we sit and we reflect, because we're coming to the end of the year, and people start making their New Year's resolutions and starting, oh, what am I going to do different next year? Let's sit and reflect on the things that really matter. What, at the end of the day, is the most important thing to us? Don't answer me. If I didn't say, it's for you to examine yourself. I'm going to start in Ecclesiastes. You know, there's a time for everything now. But, and I wish to quote this, and in reading it, the subtitle says it's for preachers. But
All right, Grab.
we are,
Yes, yes.
are you good? Preach and teach, right?
That's right.
For
As
teachers.
a matter of fact, we'll go to Matthew before I go to Ecclesiastes 28. And I'll start at verse 18. And Yeshua said, came and spake unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. And I remember Pastor was teaching a class, I think it was earlier last week, maybe this week. Oh, this is new, so it would have been last week. And he was talking about our baptism and that solemn commitment. And do we really realize what it is that we're saying we're going to do? What are we saying we're going to do? So I go back to my Ecclesiastes. Let me go to the How reunion is, for those that actually didn't want to remember, but it says, what is the most important thing all Power Reunion was focused on? All Power Reunion, that's all. Hold as the key to one development that we maintain discipline and self-control in all matters, as they are both necessary elements towards us being able to properly organize and achieve our goals of well self-love. Religion, education, law, sex, entertainment, labor, war security, what do I mean? Economics and politics. And that's not the order, I will apologize. In fact, all facets of atonism, from the physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental aspects, are such that they are based on Ma'at, universal order, and the balances of being. Thus, in order for those who respectively seek or embrace true faith to be able to experience all the powers of ancient attributes and elements, whereby become at one with the Most High Heavenly One, We must make a conscious and conscientious effort to not focus on our selfish, personal desires, but instead observe our true religious identity. I want to fast forward.
What page was that, sir?
That was page 12, my apologies. Okay. And the question is, the first thing we do is take a baptism once you come into the kingdom. Yes? The question is that, what must I do now? You must learn to walk diligently, and this is page 22, diligently to resurrect and perfect your true religious identity. Atonism by way of, one, the religion. Learn to keep the Shabbat. And I'm going to skip through. Two, learn how to make Selah. Come on. Three, learn how to properly observe all of our atonement high holy days. 4, begin to read and study more intensely so as to fully familiarize yourself with the teachings and doctrinal truths of our true religious identity. 5, put on the prescribed guards of virtue, justice, and righteousness. 6, wear the nose ring in your right nostril. 7, men must wear a beard. 8, ensure that all the children born with our atonement family receive the couple birth ceremony. 9, learn more about and actually take part in all. How many?
All.
Come on, you mean some, right?
All.
All of our rites, rituals, and precept principles, such as fellowship, the binding of the two flesh, etc., by engaging in intense spiritual study of the original books of the Bible. 10, work to become worthy of being admitted into the Assyrian or Assyrian society within the Qubtic rite of sacred society. Now, why did I list those off? Because I think all of us care about that.
Yes.
As we reflect on what it is we say we can do, let's have a measuring stick. You can quantify it. We have 10 items here, and each of those are more items. Go home and make a list. And then I want you to do a check mark. Come on. When I go to the ritual last, 2 weeks ago, the Feast of Gratitude, was I there? I did a check or not a check. You would know. What else is here? Do I come and take the liquor off? That's a check or not a check. There are those that are listening online. Are you here? Why aren't you here? If you're working, that's between you and the Lord God. But if you're not working, why aren't you here? If this is what you say you're doing. So as we reflect on the season, and as we get ready to make our New Year's resolutions and goals, let's try to make sure we align it with what is priority. Now to the scripture, and Ecclesiastes. Chapter 12. I'll read one and then I'll skip down to the one that has one. Chapter 12, verse 1. Remember now the Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh. And thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. I know, for me, in coming into atonism, I feel like a baby. Why? Because all my years in Sunday school and every time Baptist opens up a scripture and he goes into the language, I'm like, I've never heard that before.
Right.
So just imagine, like this morning, Shabaka was in London as the assistant to Brandon Peck. He's like, come Shabaka, give us some revolutionary minds. And he called off the people and he gave his quote. He must be 3. I'm like, wow, what is he going to be in 10 years or in 20 years? Powerful. We can't do it. We can't go back again. But when we bring you forward, when Karen has her quadruplet,
Amen.
She's gonna need to know to bring them up to
right.
these ways.
I'm on,
Right.
amen.
She'll be able to come here
That's right.
and take our place.
That's right.
Get up that basketball there.
Let's hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Part of duty.
Yeah.
Good bit.
On.
All.
Some will do. We have to do.
Everyone.
Everyone.
All of them.
I will close with the book of math. Because when of course it comes to being balanced and what is our duty, which is the book that we are to follow.
Yeah.
I will read page 190. And those of you who have it can read along, verse 1. This field all built hallelujah. Lo, behold, an amazing thing. The guardian angelic hosts that are students of Qubtic, namely Io, recorder of the guardian angelic hosts, and Gabriel, voice of the guardian angelic hosts, speak forth to all members of humanity concerning the divine principles of Ma'at. And this is what was said. O humanity, children of Anae, you have cried out in your supplication many sunlit days and moon reflected shadow hours, seeking to know those things which humanity should avoid. As such, it is important that you be made aware of aforetime, when we, the guardian angelic host, did gather to present ourselves before the throne of the Heavenly One, at the great Kadisha, Church of the Gendera located in Amarna, with the chapel of Asari, the original sacrificial shepherd. During that great day and time, we were given basic commandments of the true conscious morality and true conscientious identity, which in time we were instructed to pass on to humanity, so that none be restrained from merging with Anae Ray. These basic commandments of true conscious morality are such that if you embrace them with all your mind, all your heart, all your strength and power, you shall be able to avoid many traps, which often leads to the downfall of many members of humanity. Thereby, it is important that you uphold the true and balanced ways of your angelic genealogy by safeguarding the right of the true and first faith of all humanity. Autonomy. So, if you remember nothing else, remember, what is the whole duty of man? According to atonism, to find our way back to the Creator, and for those that read that in the King James Version, fear God.
That's good.